and welcome. Thanks to all of you who stayed. Glad to see you all here. We will call this regular meeting of the Board of Trustees to order at 7:12 p.m. and we're in order. First, Trustee Glass, would you care to lead us in the pledge? Much. Proceed to a roll call. Trustee Glass. Clerk Mackey.
Here.
I'm Supervisor Combs. Treasurer Robinson. Here. Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Leonard.
Here.
And I'm missing Trustee Sherwood. I'll move to excuse Trustee Sherwood.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Are there any additions to or deletions from the agenda this evening? Seeing none. We will then proceed to the first of two public comments this evening. These public comments, for new folks in the room, work just like they did during the work session. You are free to utilize one or both public comment period if you'd like. One now at the beginning of the meeting, one will come at the end of the meeting after business is conducted. And once again, if you'd like to make a public comment, feel free to step to either podium. So you are aware, the microphones are on for this meeting, and the Public Media Network, as you see in the back, does record these meetings. Please feel free. Thank you.
Do you need me to repeat who I am?
Please do. Yes.
I'm Jackie Jones. I live at 3826 Ottawa, and I've been there 24 years. You've heard a couple of people share a couple of golfers share how they use the golf course, but I want you to hear how non-golfers might use the golf course. So for those of you in the room who frequent the golf course in the afternoons or the evenings, you probably see my father there pretty much every single day. My father has a bad knee, and he goes and sits in his car and he watches. And he's been doing this since 2014. Grand Prairie became a haven for my father when I started taking care of my mom. In 2014, both my parents moved in with us, and I became my mother's full-time caregiver, and my mother pretty much moaned until her death in 2023. And that became an oasis for my father, and he sits in the parking lot there for hours, and he still does it. It's 2026 now, and he is still doing it. So if you see the red Ford Explorer, it used to be the red Ford Explorer, now it's a silver Ford Explorer, that is my dad. The other way non-golfers use the golf course, I am a walker. I have organized walks for years now, and that is one of our meeting places to meet up at the golf course. The other thing is just the appreciation of the green space itself. It is beautiful. You do not have to enjoy golf to enjoy the golf course, and I hope you will consider that with your future decisions concerning it.
Thank you very much. Other public comments?
Ron Huster, 1314 Coolidge. I'd like to thank Trustee Leonard for helping set up at the National Night Out, and Trustee Glass and Trustee Sherwood for spending 3 hours there listening to people. I don't know if you got conversation you weren't expecting, or it seemed like it was pretty much what I expected. But one thing did come up, and this was the fault of our supervisor. Some people found out about the supervisor group for the county, and somebody said to me, we will lose our voice, because there's some people in there that are out to strive to get one opinion out of that group to represent the townships of Kalamazoo County. And that's not good, because we have 3 representatives in the state that cover Kalamazoo County. I mean, different areas of it. And there's a reason for that, and it should be kept with that. And there's some townships in Kalamazoo County that don't agree with things that happen in Kalamazoo Township, and vice versa. We haven't had a recall. I brought this up before. We haven't had a recall in Kalamazoo Township, but I don't know how long. There's some townships that have had those. So there's Not a lot. It's not a good group. I recommend, I go along with what you say, and many of the Westwoodians agree with that, that we don't, that wouldn't be something that we should do. And of course, they all support the golf course. But if they had the information, and that's the problem, is the information came out, it seemed like it was flawed, because I sat through the meetings, and what I was hearing wasn't what I heard in the meeting wasn't what I was being told. And so we went over and over and over and over that at National Night Out. But thank you again very much.
Thank you. Other public comment?
My name is Dale Walvert. I live at 2221 Skyline Drive, and I've lived there for many, many years. I'm a township resident for 40 years. And full disclosure, I am a very avid golfer. I'm not always the best, but I get around pretty well. And I just returned, for example, from a pretty high-profile golf resort in the country. I travel for it to enjoy the game. And I'm going to say right now again, there's nothing like Grand Prairie Golf Course. It is a unique arrangement. It allows people to learn the game. My kids learn the game there. It allows people of age or people who are just starting it to have a comfortable environment, and you just don't find that hardly anywhere else. I don't have to, but I play it dozens of times every year because it's just so much fun. Often do it later at night when it's a little cleared out, so I can have a little more room. But I also want to say that it has been ran magnificently over the last years. And again, I have a good point of comparison. It's just a wonderful place and adds so much to this community, and it's just not common. One thing too about finances, I just read a little bit in the township budget. And it seems to me that something that adds so much to the quality of life and breaks even at the very least, or maybe a little bit of profit, and doesn't cost money like the other parks, is just an unbelievable asset. So again, just in here publicly, I want to thank the people who work at Grand Prairie Golf Course. They're tremendous, they're skilled, and they're a blessing to the township. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Other public comment?
Good evening, I'm Rick Heiser. I live at 3824 Fir Avenue. I took a look at the township website and reviewed the parks that we have in our township, and I'm sure there's some very nice parks. I would submit that Grand Prairie Golf Course is the crown jewel of all of our parks, and I would hope and pray that it remains that type of asset to our community. I live across the road, and through a gap, I see the people who play. I see the variety from young to old groups, and I'm not a great golfer, but I just want to say I think it's a wonderful asset. In your working group, you talked about some of the submissions, creating visions for what they see for it, and I think that's a great opportunity to consider improvement, which I'm all for. But I would hope that the character and the quality of the course is not changed dramatically from the great asset that we have. And I would echo what some other people have said. I wouldn't lean heavily on the profit and loss related to this, because I think this is a park. This is a green space. This is an asset for our community that I would be willing to be paying something for, not be expecting it to return a profit to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comment, please.
Hi, John McCurry, 2408 Tamarack, Kalamazoo Township. Thanks for the opportunity to give us the ability to speak out on this matter. My history dates back to the 90s. My wife and I bought our house on Pontiac in the early 90s. We raised our family there. When we moved, we discovered the golf course. My wife took her first golf lessons at the course. Several years later, our boys found their way to the golf course. That's where they cut their teeth. To address you and what you were saying about other uses, I dragged my 2-year-old son, if you know the golf course, in the dead of winter in about 1.5 feet of snow out to that hill with a sled so that he could experience his first sled ride. He was probably this big. So, you know, there's a lot more to it. So anyway, fast forward 20 years, we buy a house on the golf course. Had we known that all of this, you know, that there was going to be a possible sale or possible development there, that was devastating to us. We bought that house on Tamarack because it was going to be our forever home. And we bought it because of Grand Prairie, because we knew the quality of the course. You know, since hearing about it, it's been interesting to talk to people. I work at the course now. People tell me that my kids learned here. It's the best kept secret in the area. It's a bargain. It's a no judgment zone compared to other courses in our area. People come from all over. Battle Creek, earlier I spoke about a coach, tennis coach from Cal Poly, who comes here every year, and he knows about the course and he comes and plays it. Thousands of people, thousands of young people have gone through the junior program or part of Kalamazoo Central's golf team, both men's and women's team. You know, Western Michigan students come there for a quick round. It's unbelievable to see the amount of people that come to the golf course. And I'm not sure you guys realize what a gem you have. Do we really want to replace this wonderful golf course, this wonderful green space, with another subdivision, possibly creating a lot more traffic on Grand Prairie? It's already a speedway after the construction, the reconstruction on West Main. People have discovered it, and I would argue that, I hope the police chief was here so he could hear this, but there needs to be something done about the speeding along there as well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Other public comment? You'll have a third opportunity at the end of the meeting.
Good evening. I'm Beth Vanden Homburg, and my husband and I lived at 3907 Huron for over 7 years. That was our first home, and we invested our hearts, our time, our money, and our energy, our relationships directed to nurturing and building the neighborhood and building a life in Westwood. We enjoy the neighborhood so much that when we felt like our family was growing and we needed a larger home, we moved only 2 streets over. So I currently reside at 1417 Northampton Road. I've lived there for 22 years. In this delightful space called Westwood that's composed of the city and the township, as we move forward with the consideration of what this parcel may or may not be, I do understand that it is zoned R2, which means single family and some duplex. And while it's my understanding that that is the case, it doesn't mean that it has to be that way. And if the township leadership decides to move into the direction of having more housing and developing that space, I would just ask that you seriously consider and take into consideration what that space could look like. Is it going to be replaced with native woodlands and grasses? Are we going to have some deciduous, forests with a canopy, and really think about having a playground or a neighborhood center? I can't say that I'm for, or I could support having that property changed, but if that's the direction that the township decides to take, I would like to think that we could work together collaboratively and that there would be lots of support and input from the citizenry as to what that space is going to look like. And the reason I say that is oftentimes in the community when I speak my piece among friends and neighbors that are truly interested, I get this feedback, this body language of, well, you're just an old lady and you don't like change, or, well, it's protect my peace. This is what it's going to be, and the township's going to do what they want to do, so why bother? I don't have a voice. That type of feeling, and I understand that. One thing that I found that people don't realize, or some of the municipalities that...
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm done. Okay.
You'll have 3 more at the end.
No, that's all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comment?
Good evening, Township Board. Dave Plowski, Road Commission, Kalamazoo County, city resident. Just going to give you a Safe Streets for All update on what's been going on. You may have heard that our Safe Streets for All program, we were going to cut some trees down up to 33 feet from the center line. We have revised that after feedback from many residents, stakeholders, townships as well. We have scaled that back to 28 feet. From the center line, so that's 5 feet on either side, and so we think that'll cut the number of trees that we're going to have to take out in half, down to 4,000. There will be still exceptions for curves and intersections where we may still go to 33 feet. And if property owners want us to get rid of trees up to 33 feet, we are happy to do that as well. So that'll depend on each individual property owner. Here in Kalamazoo Township, the one road that we'll be talking about is Ravine Road. So that'll be going on here in next couple of years. It's a 5-year program. We are going to do a tree replacement policy. We're going to be actually voting on it tomorrow. So if we do take trees out and the property owner would like those replaced, we will replace 2 trees for every 1 tree that we take. The new trees will have to be outside the road right away, the 33 feet line, so that they're not a future liability to travelers as well. And that's going to be an 18-month trial period for this tree replacement policy, and so we'll reevaluate in 18 months the cost, how effective it is, the participation from property owners as well. We're going to be working with other partners, including the Kalamazoo County Conservation District, to secure some grants and other things to make sure that we can help share the burden of the cost of these trees that we'll be replacing. So, unless anyone has any questions, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Other public comments? Please.
I just wanted to say a few words in behalf of Grand Prairie. I've lived in Kalamazoo for over 65 years, and it's been so much fun to play at that golf course. My grandchildren have taken lessons there, the junior program. They've gone through high school with the playing golf. They've had a lot of fun with it. I think we have to think of the other citizens in the area in Kalamazoo who perhaps don't have transportation or don't have a membership at a fancy club, and how enjoyable it's been for them. And it would be a shame to change that. We've had so many good times there. I've met so many nice people, and I just think we have to consider our assets rather than taking them apart and throwing them away. Let's build on them and make Kalamazoo a better place for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comment? Please.
Hello, I'm Diane Kirby. I live at 249 Ballantrae Court, Apartment B. So 25 years ago, maybe more than that now, I learned how to golf at Grand Prairie, and it was just amazing. And, you know, I went on to different golf courses over the years, but the last 5 or 6 years, I came back to that area because I bought my condo. And on Monday nights, I'm on a women's golf league with the 2 women, and I think kind of used to on it. This women's golf league, and it is just amazing. Like, I just came in my golf clothes tonight to make it to the meeting on time. But just like the program and the lessons that they offered, just amazing. And I also live like 3 miles from there, and I know this because sometimes when I'm out on my long runs and I got to use the bathroom, that's always a good place to go. So, but anyway, so it's just been an amazing place, and the people that I have met there are amazing. And actually tonight I got a birdie, so I got to put a little birdie on the wall tonight. So thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Other public comments? Please.
I'm Nancy Anderson. I live at 4004 Oldfield Place in Kalamazoo. I'm not a very good golfer, but I show up every week 2 or 3 times. Sometimes I play there 4 times a week. But it's just encouraging to see all the young people. I used to work at juvenile court, and I know that the young students go there so they can learn to play golf. Other children go there to see their families. I love to see the grandparents bring their children over there. I go there with my neighbors all the time. It's just a wonderful place. It's very well run. I was in a golf outing yesterday, and that place cannot hold a candle to the gem that this place is. It's run very well. People are just so encouraging to what you try to do and to learn. It's just something that we need to preserve. So if you have it in your heart to keep this going, it's one of the best places I've ever seen. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Other public comment? Seeing none. Reminder, there will be a second option during this meeting for public comment at the end of the meeting as well. Seeing no other movement, we will proceed. Next up, we have the consent agenda. Clerk Mackey.
I will move to approve the consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent and supervisor.
Support.
It's a motion and support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you very much. We will proceed forward. Excuse me. We have no public hearings or presentations scheduled this evening and no old business, which brings us to new business. First, we have item A, and this is primarily a procedural, matter of business, as former Police Chief Scott Jackson was also appointed by this board to be a member of the Building Authority Commission. Superintendent, you are recommending, I believe, that Denise Ulrich be appointed to the Building Authority. Is that correct? Any comments there? Very good. A motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to remove Scott Jackson and appoint Denise Ulrich to the Building Authority Commission effective immediately.
It's a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. I do not believe we need a roll call vote on this one, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Item B of new business this evening is the proposed closure of Riverside Drive between Lake and Carlton. This was previously brought forward to this board with the superintendent, and as I understand, and based on the paperwork in our packet, the proper procedures with the road commission, including the application, have been followed. Is that correct? Very good. And a motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to recommend the closure of Riverside Drive between Lake Street and Carlton Avenue on Sunday, August 16th, 2026, on behalf of the Bethel Star Community Church.
Support.
There's a motion and support. Any discussion? Seeing none. Wishing them the best for their event over at Bethel Star. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Finally, we have item C, and this is an item that I brought forward. This is the Supervisors Group question, which I brought forward at the previous work session as well. I am asking for a decision, and I have, before I make the motion, a couple of just points of information to share. First of all, you will see a proposed motion in the packet. And I did my best to, in drafting this proposed resolution, to sort of encompass the conversation that we had at the previous work session. Quick recap there. There is a informal and self-proclaimed group of township supervisors that has long existed in Kalamazoo County. It was originally created and existed just as an informal networking and sort of collaborative environment, a sort of intentional space for township supervisors to talk to each other. However, as of late, there have been sort of two major developments. The first is a push on the part of some of those supervisors, not this one, to formalize that group into something that is more, well, formal, which would include things like meeting minutes, elected officers, parliamentary procedures, and things of that nature that other groups and other legislative bodies like this one actually have. And the second is that this group has established a precedent without even my knowledge at times of taking policy positions and advocating those to the state on behalf of all of the township supervisors and townships that are members and part of Kalamazoo County. Now, a quick update for the board. Over the weekend, I actually received for the first time draft bylaws of this group. They are reflective of exactly what I just said and the discussion that we had at the last work session. I did want to call out, though, that the draft bylaws specifically state that the supervisors group may take positions on regional or state legislative policy matters important to township administration and residents. As was stated in public comment, I feel that is problematic because 15 township supervisors were not elected by this township. One board of 7, which is this board, was elected by this township. That being said, and in order to open this up for any discussion and discourse, I move to opt out of the Township Supervisors Group of Kalamazoo County to ensure that the Charter Township is removed from future proposals, action items, proclamations, and resolutions on behalf of the Supervisors Group without prior approval of the Township Board of Trustees by adopting the resolution as presented.
Support.
There's a motion and support. Discussion is open on this matter.
How will we ensure that we're not inadvertently represented? Like, how will it be clear if you're not
Good question.
included?
A couple of things. One, and I think this is important for a lot of reasons, this group is not the only method that supervisors have of communicating with each other. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
You know, like any of us, and we discussed this in the work session, we can and should communicate with our counterparts. Additionally, the way that this is shaping up based on the bylaws and structure that this group is turning into, it seems to be a formal group, which would imply that the meetings need to be open to the public, as well as the minutes would need to be open to the public and any actions that they take. And so I would continue, unless this board directed otherwise, to monitor what is being put out, because, and board, you know this, but for the sake of the public, policy positions have been sent to state representatives with Kalamazoo Township listed on it without any of our knowledge. So we would, first of all, the reason I put this in the form of a resolution is, should this resolution pass here, I would communicate that to the supervisors group. There is a sort of de facto chair while they are putting together these bylaws, and there would presumably be an elected chair once these bylaws were adopted, or any bylaws were adopted. And I also would make it clear to all of the individual supervisors that the township's expectation is that this board and the township are not represented as taking positions in the group. Any other questions there?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you to you, as our Supervisor Combs, for bringing this up so seriously and making us all really consider this and pay attention, and offering to continue helping to monitor, as I think we'll probably all be paying attention now, but just your continued transparency. You know, we've had an uphill battle, I think, as many local governments and all government entities do at this day and age, an uphill battle for transparency, and I feel like as supervisor you have continued to show that you're dedicated to transparency, and that our board as a whole is dedicated to that, and not giving up our power, because that's essentially what this would be. You know, it would be tying our hands on decisions, or at least advocacy at a decision for us. And we are a large township, we're strong, I think. And so hopefully we can just continue that. And I just want to, I thank you. I thank you for this effort and bringing this up and showing everyone.
Thank you. If I could add on to that, and thank you, Trustee Glass. I do want to address on your point that Kalamazoo Township is one of the largest townships in the area, and a strong one. The potential for opportunities that were brought forward to me by other supervisors when I told them that this was going to be on this meeting were twofold, and I would like to propose that we are not losing those opportunities. The first is engagement with our state level elected officials. Exhibit A, I don't think she's here now, but we had a state representative in the room during our work session. We do not need this group in order to communicate with our state representatives. We are fully capable of doing that on our own. And the other is guest speakers. The Township Supervisors Group often brings in a guest speaker from an external agency, sometimes the Road Commission, Discover Kalamazoo, third-party entities like that, to sort of inform Township Supervisors. I looked back at the past year's agendas and guest speakers, and I was not able to find one that we had not also had right here at the Township. And so rather than filtering those guest speakers' information through me or any supervisor, it seems more advantageous to do what we're doing, which is invite them here to speak to all of us, and then any of the residents who would like to come as well. So all of that to say, I don't actually feel we are losing any of the opportunity presented by the Supervisors Group in our case. Any other discussion?
And I think, if I may,
Please.
that like this board has shown in particular, and I hope that boards in the future will then feel the urgency or a little bit of fire to continue that, as we have grown our own relationships with local and state officials and other groups, and I think that's super important for any board. I mean, you shouldn't be complacent. You shouldn't be giving that up to some other entity that was not elected by the people that you serve. So
Agreed.
it just makes it more insistent that we continue those relationships that I think we already work on.
Thank you. Other discussion? Please.
I will still encourage you to communicate with supervisors throughout the county, throughout the state, because I believe there's a lot of educational value in that. But I understand why this is coming forward, and I appreciate your attention to it. I'll also just note that you'll probably want to do a roll call vote.
Yes, as it's a resolution. Yep. Thank you for that. And yes, completely agreed on the collaboration piece. And it is included in the resolution in one of the whereases that the township, being the board, the decision-making body here, encourages the supervisor to communicate in a collaborative and informal manner with other supervisors. In including that in the resolution, that would become a directive by the board, even more than just a suggestion. I also just want to call out for all of the board members that this is noted in the resolution. Kalamazoo Township is an active and dues-paying member of the Michigan Townships Association, which is the formal association of townships and township governments that reaches across the state. Many of us go to their trainings throughout the year and their retreat each year. And this decision has no bearing on that. And so this township remains an active member, and all board members are, of course, encouraged to continue to participate with the MTA, or the Michigan Townships Association.
One other.
Yeah, please.
So also, I just want to clarify, in the section where it says that Kalamazoo Township and its supervisor shall not participate as a member of the Township Supervisors Group. My question for you, while it would be the hope for this body that we would not allow for representation with that group, I'm not opposed to attending their meetings and participating in discussions as
Sure.
long as it's not, under the terms that they are taking policies on behalf of our board.
I
just wanted
completely
to-
agree. I also, now, this is open for discussions, recognizing I wrote the thing, but I do not read this as excluding me or any of us, frankly, from attending the supervisors' meetings as attendees. I have participated in these in the past when the group was more informal, and those meetings were generally open to the public, and folks from across governments in the county would attend. Sometimes members of state legislators, staff, sometimes county officials, sometimes other township officials. And so, to your point, I read that the same way. I think that you are, that the first resolve, the line there states that the township and the supervisor shall not participate as a member, meaning we shall not be represented, especially in policy positions, by the 15 supervisors. However, that does not preclude me from attending, speaking. Again, I don't know how that bylaw piece is going to shake out, but it would seem to me that there would need to be a public comment period in those meetings. This does not preclude me from speaking on behalf of Kalamazoo Township in a public comment session or anything like that.
Agreed. I mean,
Yeah.
I read this as they would be subject to OMA, or Open Meetings Act.
Exactly.
As any other
Well, and
entity would, so.
frankly, that is something based on how I see this playing out, I'm on the email thread with the other 15 supervisors. I expect that will become a matter of question and potentially debate. One that we need not mire ourselves in Kalamazoo Township.
But then maybe everybody should pay attention.
I won't disagree. Okay, any other comment on this matter? Okay, with that, and thank you, clerk, we will proceed to a voice vote as this is a resolution. Or, I'm sorry, a roll call, I meant a roll call vote. Roll call vote as this is a resolution. Trustee Glass?
Aye.
Trustee Leonard?
Aye.
Trustee Martin?
Aye.
I am an aye. Clerk Mackey?
Aye.
Treasurer Robinson?
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you very much. And as I stated, I will also, after this meeting, transmit a copy of that resolution as it was passed to the supervisors group and their current leadership. With that, we've concluded new business this evening. No items were removed from the consent agenda, and we do not have a closed session on the agenda this evening, which brings us to our second public comment. Same format, once again, if you'd like to make a public comment, feel free to step to the podium. You have 3 minutes to use as you choose.
Good evening, Township Board. Again, Dave Pulowski from the Road Commission in Kalamazoo County. Just a couple quick things. Road closure procedures, as you had earlier on your agenda item, a road closure. We request that all road closures, when they come to the Road Commission, go through your townships. That's why the Township Board voted on that tonight. And that is so that the township is aware of any road closures that's going on besides the Road Commission. So that's a procedure that we like to follow, and thank for the Township Board for helping us out on that. The second thing is our RCKC Connect. If you go to our website, KalamazooCountyRoads.com, you can sign up for RCKC Connect. You can actually select areas like Kalamazoo Township, and you'll get an email or a text message, however you choose, or even a phone call on road projects that are going on in your neighborhoods and your areas, so that you know there's road construction going on, and you can avoid from parking in the roads or anything. Of course, when we're doing a road, we ask that nobody park in the road. We have that issue a lot, so just want to make sure. If you're interested in signing up for that RCKC Connect, please go to our website, and that's all I have, unless anyone has questions. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Other public comment? Feel free.
I just wanted to make sure my comments were recorded, my questions were recorded. Jackie Jones, 3826 Ottawa. I live 2 blocks away from the golf course. I asked, why is there appraisal needed for the property? How often is the property appraised, and when was the last time it was appraised? I think there is fear that when property is being appraised, it's being appraised for sale. Also, how was the property acquired? Was it a gift? Was it purchased below rate and considered a gift, or some other way? And then, how many people are employed by the golf course? And that's it, thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comments? Yes.
Hi. Beth Vanden Hamburg, 1417 Northampton Road. The cherry on top of what I was trying to get across earlier is that I would just ask that you take into special consideration the fact that we have the township, we have the city, we have Ashtamel Township. So for the people that we live in this magical triangle, you know, we've had the zoning changed from office, where we lost Davenport College, and now it's commercial, and all of that wooded land was clear cut for a mega car wash. And when you bring it up, people say, well, it's not the city, it's the township, it's the township. And then, you know, with Ashtamel Township, they clear cut down by Myers, that, you know, that whole giant area, there's no trees that were left for that, for this, you know, 400 apartment, 52 duplex housing area coming in. And it just, for the people that live here, it is kind of scary to see all of these chunks and pieces of our green space disappear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Christine Johnson. I live at 2035 West G Avenue, Kalamazoo Township side of the road. 5 years ago, I retired after nearly 40 years of corporate life. And it gave me an opportunity to pick up my golf clubs after a long hiatus. And I joined a league at Grand Prairie. And one fall, I was asked by an employee that happens to be here tonight, would I be interested in working in the clubhouse? So the next spring, I came and applied for a job. What I got was more than a paycheck. I feel like I represent Kalamazoo Township to every person that walks through that door. I see joy on people's faces. I see kids having a good time, and to Bob, who left already, his point is, in a time where kids are buried in computers and online games and all that, it's wonderful to see parents, grandparents, siblings bring kids to the course. They have, countless people have already said, but they have a wonderful junior program. We had a 94-year-old lady today play golf, and she outdrove a 30-year junior person that was with her. So it does bring a lot of joy to a lot of people. It brings huge joy to me to see people, because when you come to the golf course, you're not typically in a bad mood. You're there because you want to have a good time and whatnot. I just happen to collect a paycheck and get to witness all that. So I get paid dividends every day when I come to work. And I know things in life boil down, my whole life, everything boils down to two things: politics and money. I just would hate to see the joy taken out of so many people's lives if Grand Prairie Golf Course does not remain in its present state. It would be joyless area. It would be a tragedy. And to answer your question, there's about 10 people that work there. And we work for wonderful people, but we all represent Kalamazoo Township when we come to work. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Other public comment? Please.
Hello again. I'm going to repeat my statement from the work session, so it's recorded. Hello, my name is Jeremy Goldman. I'm a resident of Kalamazoo Township, living on Miami Avenue in Eastwood. My concerns tonight are with automated license plate reader systems, ALPRs. What are they? These are cameras scanning every vehicle passing by, converting plates, make, model, distinguishing vehicle and passenger details, and location into searchable data across the nation. They capture everyone, not just suspects. Parents dropping kids at school, patients at doctors, families grocery shopping, all logged. I can't buy stamps from the post office or shop at Aldi without being tracked by the camera on Gull Road east of Nazareth. Am I free from surveillance if I go to Eastwood Library? No, because there's a camera tracking us at East Main Street and Craft. On my way here this evening, I was tracked and logged by 3 of them on Gull Road across from Borges Hospital, Riverview Cemetery, and the intersection of Gull and Riverview. Westwood isn't free either. Can I go see a movie at K10 or shop at Target or go to Grand Prairie Golf Course without being tracked? No, because there are cameras on West Main by Campbell Avenue and Nichols Road. I understand that flock safety ALPR contract is held by the City of Kalamazoo, expiring this month in August 2026. But cameras are physically installed on township roadways. These track us without our direct representation at the decision table. This isn't unique to flock safety. Any ALPR vendor does the same thing. Switching companies solves nothing. The surveillance remains. My concerns as a township resident are: 1, no notification has occurred. Have township officials been consulted when cameras have gone up on our roadways? The public has learned of them through news reports, not official channels. 2, transparency is absent. The Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety won't release access logs despite FOIA requests. There's no way to know how many searches happened on township residents or whether officers have misused the system. 3, precedent matters. Once the flock safety contract is renewed, without input from township officials, the infrastructure becomes entrenched and we're left voiceless. Pressure to expand the system throughout the township will grow. Other Michigan communities like Ferndale and Clawson have pushed back and abandoned contracts with ALPR providers like Flock. We can too. I ask the board to do the following. Issue a formal resolution expressing constituent concern about ALPR renewal. Request a joint meeting with Kalamazoo City Commissioners before the August decision on the contract. Send written communication to KDPS demanding transparency. Where are all the camera locations in the township? Who is accessing township resident data? How often and for what purpose? Review zoning authority. Consider requiring township permission for future camera installations in Kalamazoo Township. The residents you represent are asking you to use your political authority. Tell the city that we oppose warrantless mass surveillance on our streets. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Other public comment, please.
Bob Bauman, 5256 South 12th Street. I don't live in the township. I live in Texas Township. I've worked at Grand Prairie for 10 seasons, and I'm a senior. Most of the people in this room are seniors, so I'm going to speak for the seniors tonight because most of you are not seniors. So you don't know exactly how we feel. If this would go away, most of the seniors would also go away. They would just quit exercising. They would not get out because most of them live close by. But these seniors, you're actually allowing them to extend their life by exercising, by going out, by breathing air, by getting in, with people, talking, feeling a purpose. If you eliminate this, I'm concerned about the people that I've met over the last 10 years and how close I've become to them. I know, 40 or 50 ladies by name. Now, I go home and I talk to my wife, Shelley, and I said, Yvonne was here today. And she looks at me, oh, she knows now I'm talking about my senior friends that are at the golf course. So please take into consideration the fact that you're giving them an opportunity to extend their life. And most of us, not me included, because I would try to do something else, but most seniors that I've run into, if they have to go out of their way, they just won't do it. So please take that into consideration.
Thank you very much. Other public comments?
Okay, I'm back. Nancy Anderson, again, 4004 Oldfield Trail. I have to reiterate, I'm a senior, as you obviously can tell, and this is the place that so many seniors go. My neighbor that I spoke of that goes with me sometimes, he's 96 years old, and he is at Grand Prairie all the time. Loves to golf there whenever he's in town, and it's the best thing going. And it's so true that we are out there, we're in the fresh air. After the pandemic, that was the first place that we all went. It was the easiest place to be, And I just can't tell you enough how important it is to those of us and to my friends and fellow golfers, how important this place is to us. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Other public comment? Seeing none. Okay. Superintendent, your comments this evening. Sorry, didn't hear you. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move to board member reports. I don't usually do this. I'll begin board member reports this evening. First, I know we have some folks who are here just for the business meeting, not for the work session, so I want to provide an update given the interest that there clearly is in the golf course. First, there is no plan to eliminate the golf course. Any rumor to the contrary is just that, a rumor. What was discussed at our 6 p.m. work session was an RFP, or request for proposals, which will be sent out within the next week after an input process from board members. I'll spare you the details of that as we discussed it in the work session, for management of the golf course moving forward. It's the only question on the table, is management of the golf course moving forward. The reason for that is because the current management came to the township in December of 2025 and informed us that he would like to end his contract after the 2026 season. We took that seriously, we believed it, and we began planning for the future. This evening is the 4th public meeting in which we've discussed what to do with the golf course. Along the way, several pieces of information have come up which I want to address. First, yes, there was a interested investor in purchasing the property potentially to build housing. If a query like that comes forward to township staff, our superintendent is responsible to bring that information to the board, which is exactly what occurred. However, there's no offer, nor is there any plan to sell the property. And in fact, getting at some of the history of the property, our clerk discovered there was a resolution passed by a previous board in the 1980s that determines the property must be used for recreational purposes in perpetuity. But again, that's not even a path that we're trying to go down. But there were some specific questions that came up, so I wanted to make sure to answer them. First, the number of employees, it sounds like that question was answered. I heard 10 during public comment. But just to build on that, the current contract that the township has with management allows for no oversight of the employees or the employee conditions at the golf course, which means we didn't have that information. I heard that information for the first time this evening as well, that there were 10 employees. This is one of those things that simply needs to be modernized with future management so that the township can, 1, know how many employees are working there, and 2, ensure that those employees are being treated well. Now, to be clear, I understand they have been treated well, or you have been treated well over the years, but we want to make sure that that continues to be the case in the future. The question of was the property a gift? The answer is no. The property was purchased for just under $500,000, a combination of township operating funds, state grants, and federal grants, all of which fed into that resolution that I mentioned from the 1980s, which stated by a previous board from this table that the property should be used for recreational purposes in perpetuity. The other question was why an appraisal? There are a couple of reasons for that. First, the township has not had an appraisal of this property since it was purchased in, I believe, 1981. Is that, you're correct? 1981, so we have no idea what the value of this asset is. It is only responsible for the township, in order to be able to state what its assets are, to know what the asset is. And that's also important information for insurance purposes. We have no idea at the moment how to insure that property, or to what level to insure that property, because we just don't know what it's worth in this century. So that's information that we need regardless of the sale. And at the same time, I hear the comment that on its face, without having that context, hearing appraisal can often be equated with, when we perhaps get our homes appraised, and that's often when we are selling the property. While that's not the case here, I want to stress that's why I'm so glad you all are here, especially those of you that stuck it out. Thanks for being here. Because you never know what you're going to learn in a meeting. In this room, these meetings are where we have these discussions. It is quite literally against the law for this board to make any decisions outside of these public meetings. This is the only place that they happen, so I encourage you all to continue to come. And then finally, coming out of that, the other question I heard in public comment was, there was a note about the city incorporation element, so unrelated to the golf course. But again, you come to meetings, you never know what you're going to learn. So this city incorporation element that came up at our work session, I want to share a little bit about that. First, 2 weeks ago at our work session, I brought forward information that I had been approached by city commissioners from actually both of our neighboring cities, so the city of Kalamazoo and the city of Parchment, that there is interest in within both entities and potentially annexing pieces of the township. Now, a very short history lesson, Kalamazoo Charter Township became a charter township in order to protect against annexation and put a halt to it. That's how we got these borders in large part, is because the city of Kalamazoo in the 50s, 60s, and 70s would annex little pieces here and there. We became a charter township to stop that. However, it has become known, and I've learned as well, that there is an exception in the Charter Townships Act, which allows for specifically non-contiguous elements of charter townships. In other words, pieces that aren't connected to other pieces. If you look at our map, again, we have 4 non-contiguous pieces of our township, some big, some small. And also there is a same part of that exception which allows cities to pursue annexation if it would straighten borders. That's to quote that exception from the law. We don't have a lot more information than that because 1, it has just come forward, and 2, I just asked for permission from this board tonight to do more research and to conduct a feasibility study. What we know is that from our legal counsels that there is potential risk there in those exceptions for additional annexation. We also know we have no interest in allowing pieces of the township to be annexed by the city of Parchment or the city of Kalamazoo. And so we want to do what we can to protect ourselves against that. One possible, again, not in any way decided, but one possible path would be to incorporate as a city. Not to become part of either city, the city of Kalamazoo or the city of Parchment, but to incorporate as a city independently, which would, in theory, protect against additional annexation. Now, that is a very long process that begins with the township board and ends at a ballot, and we are many, many steps removed from that. What we talked about this evening is just conducting a feasibility study to determine whether that path makes sense and what other paths exist and what our vulnerabilities actually are. So that's where that stands. I encourage you all, if you're interested in any of these things, please come to the meetings because this conversation will recur, I am sure, at our future meetings and work sessions and at our retreat in January or February of this year. With that, other board members I'm sure have things to say. I will start with you, Treasurer Robinson.
Okay. First off, I'm going to start by saying thank you to all of the new faces in the room. I am going to touch on a couple of things that the supervisor said, but I'm going to start with something, I'm going to throw it out there because I always come up with little quirky things. So something that I heard from a teacher before when I was in college, information walks, but misinformation flies. And oftentimes that's what happens. And so I think sometimes people can get bits and pieces of the information. And what I have found as a board member since 2020, what I have found is that oftentimes when we have the most seats filled is when that occurs. And when that information flies and there are, bits and pieces that got out there, but not quite all of it, is when everybody comes. And so I want to thank everyone for coming to put all of it together. My phone has been crazy. In fact, I have been trying to figure out what is going on because I had so many voicemails and calls and things over the weekend that I really thought that something must have been wrong with my phone. A lot of those calls had been about Grand Prairie and the golf course and that. And so I thank every single person that actually called to try and get the information from the source because oftentimes, and I have done it as well, oftentimes I will hear it from a neighbor and I'll take that and I'll run with it. But sometimes we have to, take an extra step and go to the source and just kind of see if I have all of the details to it, because that's really, really important. And so I thank you all for coming with that, because as he said, this is like our 4th or 5th discussion on it. So we've been going over this for quite some time. This has been months. We're months down the line and just trying to figure out different pieces of this. And our work sessions, even though they're not recorded, they are public. Anytime all of us are in the room together, it is public. And one thing about it, our work sessions is where we work. That's where we're trying to put the pieces together. That's where we're trying to pick each other's brains. And that's where we're trying to figure it out. because we don't have all the answers at all. And all we are concerned residents that people voted for that landed up here, just like everybody that's right there. So we're all in the same room together, and so every voice is important. And so I just want to remind everybody that work sessions is where we do the work. If you can't make it to those, our meetings, you know, they're televised. So jump on those as well. But jump on the website, get the meeting scheduled. But we're here, it's public, and come see us, come join us. Like, you're welcome. So that's the end of that. And then on the Treasury side of things, bills have hit mailboxes. Those went out. I have had quite a few people that have not received theirs yet. If you are one of those people, reach out to the township, give us a call. Let us know if you have not received your bill at this point. You need to give us a call and let us know. They have been available on the website since July 1st. That is a requirement, so they have been up and available since then. But if you haven't received it, you need a copy of it, you can swing into the township, you can give us a call, and we'll be happy to get that for you. So tax bills are out, they're in circulation. If you have any issues, just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Martin, what do you got?
Well, I want to thank everybody, like the treasurer said, for coming in tonight. I see, out of the 10 people, I see 6 people here that I know that work at the golf course, and 7 when Jim was here. So you guys are well representative of the golf course here. But I want to say one thing about Grand Prairie. I don't look at Grand Prairie just as a golf course. I look at that whole road. And why I say this is because on that road, we have a township cemetery, the only township cemetery we have. Also on that road, we have a golf course, only golf course that we have. We have a pickleball court and a tennis court, only ones that we have. We've got a park there too. So we're well represented on the west side with good sporting things in a good neighborhood. And I want to thank all the people that work there. I want to thank all the people that came out tonight. I think you guys get your point well addressed, well across, and be safe going home. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Leonard.
I'll just reiterate, thank you for coming. I appreciate hearing all the perspectives. I'm not a golfer. I have played once at the course, but you've inspired me to want to go play once this summer. So thank you for your perspectives, and I think it's really informed our decision moving forward.
Thanks. Clerk Mackey?
I also am really grateful to see all of you tonight, and I think I'll take this opportunity. A lot of you introduced yourselves and how long you've lived in the township. So I'm your clerk, and I moved to Kalamazoo to go to college at Western, and I ended up really just loving it here. And so I bought a home in Kalamazoo Township in 2004. And I've raised my 2 daughters here, and it's just a wonderful place to live. So I'm really grateful to see all of you, and if you ever have questions about elections, especially, I feel free to reach out. I wanted to just give an update on the election that just happened, but before I do that, I wanted to speak a little bit about the golf course. And during our work session, when we talked about the RFP, I've had a lot of time during all of your comments to think about this. And one thing that I would really like to see in this RFP is whoever is granted this contract, if it is granted, I would like to know what they would do to ensure that the Grand Prairie Golf Course maintains its culture as an affordable, family-friendly course that builds community, because it's very clear from the comments tonight that is a very unique golf course. So just some thoughts I have on that. Regarding the election, we had a really great turnout here in Kalamazoo Township for a primary. The turnout was 31.39%, with 5,712 of 18,198 registered voters participating. Of those who voted, approximately 41.5% voted in person at their precinct on election day. 54% voted by absent voter ballot, and 4.5% voted during early voting. So those early voting sites that you can look up, either you can reach out to us or you can go to Kalamazoo County's website. There are 4 sites in the county where you can vote early for 9 days if that is your preferred method. But those sites are always going to be open during state and federal elections. So the November election will also be an election where you could utilize that option. If you have questions about your voter registration, you can reach out to us, or you can also go to michigan.gov/vote. There's a lot of information there. And I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to our election inspectors and to our staff. Everyone really did a wonderful job of coming together. It's a team effort. We were short-staffed, so it just feels really great to have such a good team behind me to ensure that all of your votes get counted. So, yeah, sorry for the long report.
I think mine was longer. Trustee Glass, what do you got?
I also would like to say thank you for showing up. It was wonderful to hear all the stories and how much Grand Prairie means to everyone. I think, you know, despite how frustrated we all get when sometimes like there's rumors or we think, you know, things aren't going the way, it's just been really wonderful to actually hear and understand what it has meant to people. And I think sometimes it's a good thing when we have a little bit of friction so that we get people to show up and tell us what matters to them. So thank you for that, and it was really nice. I mean, I felt genuinely a lot of good feelings listening to you all and how much it means to you. And it just helps us make better decisions, so I think that's great. And then the other thing I'll say is thanks to the Westwood Neighborhood Association for all the work they did with National Night Out, and I really enjoyed being there. We had lots of good conversations. We had quite a few people stop by our little township tent, and it was mostly positive, and that felt really nice. So I think a lot of that has to do with the wonderful work our superintendent and staff and supervisor, everybody has done, just really coming together in the last couple of years to just really get all these great things going on. We have the fire station, we have the township hall, we've done a lot of modernization in and out of this entity, so I think it's wonderful, and I just love to see us keep moving forward. And congratulations to everyone on their successful primaries. And yeah, I hope we can keep these conversations going, and I hope I see you again very soon. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you very much. If there are no other comments for the good of the order, actually, I do have one. For folks who are here, our new boardroom has seating for 100, so if you could all bring friends, that'd be great. Thank you. We don't want an empty room, really, truly. But yeah, with that, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I will move to adjourn.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And we're adjourned at 8:20. Thank you.